प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य मआणिस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहसीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed unto me. May my mind and speech enable me to grasp the truth of the scriptures. May what I learn from them never forsake me. Let me lead my life according to those teachings day and night. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel the all-pervading divine presence as an infinite, luminous, blissful ocean. And let us feel our little individualities or egos are dissolving in it. Gone is the ego. Gone are all the consequences of ego too. Gone is the multiplicity. Gone are time and space. Gone is the separation. I, you, world, God, all these have been dissolved in this luminous ocean of bliss. All my wants have disappeared, for I am all that is. I am bliss itself. I am peace itself. This is my true nature. Let us feel it. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, let us start our study class on this very illuminating biography of Sri Ramakrishna with our regular prayers. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashvapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadattatam Bhuvi grinanti te bhurida janaha. We were discussing the relationship between this, what we call as I, and the God. All of us have a concept of God, and also all of us have a realization. See, concept is one thing, an intellectual idea, but then it has to develop into a real experiential connection. And then this connection has different aspects, that how that connection with God functions in our life. The discussion that we had on last Tuesday was about these ideas uh, called the non-dual perception or non-dual understanding of God. Then there is the qualified non-dualistic understanding about God, and then there is the dualistic. And uh, the intellectual concepts about it can of course be divided into these and further subdivisions of these, and there can be fight about which is real and also which is superior to the other. It is usually an intellectual discussion and not having an experiential component to it, and that is why the discussion or quarrels about it generally continue, because these are after all the intellectual formulations, and there is no way to decide which one is right without referring to experience. So, for example, that the old debate about how many teeth a horse has. So, well, horse is bigger than human beings. We human beings have 32, so horse should have 40 or more. Some say no, no, horse doesn't eat all this non-vegetarian food. It doesn't have to break the bones, so it will not have some of those teeth. Some would say no, horse being an inferior animal to human beings would have less teeth. Now all these arguments go on, but none of the arguments have much teeth, because although it is about the teeth of the horse, there is, unless you count how many teeth horse have, the theories can just keep on galloring. So somebody said, oh, why not just catch hold of the horse, open its mouth and just count? That will settle the dispute for all. So therefore, this is how our arguments about God go on. Long back when I used to be in college, one of our friends, he had this kind of a philosophical bent of mind, and used to keep on discussing about God, different theories. What is this world? How is God? What it is? And so forth. So, it is a philosophical discussion coming not to any conclusion. So, that is why those who are engaged only in philosophical discussions, in conceptualizations, or the intellectual ideas, they will always be debating about how are we connected to God. Right from the beginning, if the God is there or not, the discussion can begin. If that is there, how am I connected to God? But when it comes to the experiential level, then we can see that the experience with God can be at all different levels without any conflict. The conflict is really not there. It is only a perceived conflict when we do not refer to the experience. When we refer to logic, these conflicts are unending. And logic can establish anything, can refute anything. You can prove anything by logic. You must have all read that saying of Jesus that uh, prove anything, prove everything, but hold on to God or hold on to truth. Hold on to truth. Prove anything, because by logic anything can be proved depending on the capability of one's brain, the functioning of one's brains. Anything can be proved. So, it is the question that comes about Sri Ramakrishna's realization that was he then non-dualist, not a non-dualist? Because he could see the world and he could see names and forms, and he could also see the divine pervading them. So, was he actually not a non-dualist? Swami Saradananda mentioned that we saw last time that that is not this that Sri Ramakrishna's awareness. He was all that. He was non-dualist. But our idea of non-dualist means he cannot be dualist. No, not like that. It is he was non-dualist, but that doesn't mean he was against dualism or was not a dualist. When we come to the experience and see how we can be connected to God, actually we see that there are various shades of our connection. Like you are connected to a human being, another human being. Now that connection has various shades. Sometimes it is very intimate, sometimes it is not so intimate, and so forth. So, there is a variety in that, and that variety is not against any of those particular connections or particular ways of appreciating that relationship. So, both are there, all are there, no problem whatsoever. So, Sri Ramakrishna had all these, he could be established in the non-dual realization, and yet had nothing, averse, no avarice against any dualistic forms either. All are fine. It is yes, I am non-dualist, I am dualist, I am qualified non-dualist, all are correct. So, an example follows here after some discussion on what these three are and how they are connected. We saw that discussion last time, but now we will come to the example that in this context, and this is page 448, in this context, the master referred to the realization of the wise Hanuman. Hanuman, a great devotee of Sri Rama. Now, this is point is that it is not just intellectual, it is experiential. And Hanuman is also described as Buddhimatam Varishtham. Buddhimatam Varishtham, the highest amongst the intelligent. So, although he is shown as a monkey, it is he is intelligent and supremely intelligent. So, this Hanuman was asked that it is Rama, this Hanuman, who was a glowing example of Dasya Bhava, the attitude of a devoted servant. So that is how we all know Hanuman, that he is a servant to a very faithful servant to Lord Rama. Hanuman and Rama, that is the relationship. That Ramasya dasosmyaham, that was Hanuman's attitude. I am the servant of Rama. But look, the master said, once Ramachandra asked his devoted servant Hanuman, how do you look upon me? How do you think of and worship me? Hanumana replied, O Rama, while I identify myself with the body, I see that you are the master and I am your servant. You are to be served and I am your attendant. You are to be worshipped, I am the worshipper. When I consider myself to be an individual self consisting of the mind and intellect and the soul, I see that you are the whole and I am a part. And when during samadhi I become one with the pure Atman, devoid of attributes, I experience that you and you are I and I am you. You and I are the same. There is no difference. This is the Hanuman. It is that Sanskrit couplet goes like this: Deha buddhya tu dasoham. As the body, well, it is matter, it has the separations, it is this and that when you look upon that this piece of matter, that piece of matter. So, deha. So, I am your servant. That is how, as a servant in the sense, any dualistic feeling, I am your son, I am your daughter, I am your parent, whatever attitude that, well, you are my child, I am your mother or father, I am your friend. So many ways of connection that can be dualistically perceived when you think of yourself as a body. And we think of ourselves as body at times, at least for us, most of the time we consider ourselves as this body. So, therefore, this dualistic attitude is quite natural to us. You will see that whatever a person may intellectually think and logically determine how God should be, the spontaneous experiential connection is I and God. And therefore, people show hand at the skies, that it is, well, who knows how what God decides, you look up like that. So it is. Why? This is spontaneous. This is not that somebody is necessarily trained to do that. But you think of God as somebody, the highest governor of this universe, and you are subservient to that, which is natural. It all depends on God, we says. We say like that. It all depends on God. Whatever God decides, that will happen. So, there we are this day they connected to God in a dualistic manner, irrespective of what our intellectual concept is as body. So, deha buddhya tu dasoham, by as a body, when I consider myself as body, then you are the whole, and you are the master and I am your servant. Jiva buddhya tvadamshakaha. When I consider myself to be the soul, soul means the idea is that you know that there is some spirit in you, that is not matter, something that does not change. We are all aware of that experientially. That is why, in spite of the changing matter around, changing body, changing world, we feel that I am the same. I am one without second. Reality may be, may not be, but I remain the same in spite of these changes that go in the body. It is like that. We have that conviction. That is the jiva, that connected, somehow tied to the changing matter, but still separate from the matter. It is very difficult to explain that, but we all experience this, that yes, some years back I used to look different. There in Alabama, I met a gentleman, a young man, and then I asked, "Did I meet you before?" He said, "Yes, we met before, but that was long back, and I looked very different then, but we did meet." He was, I think, some high school student then. Now that was about 14, 15 years ago. Now he is a bearded guy. So it is, the, but he says and knows intuitively, irrefutably, that I am same. I say I am same because that I remember that we met, and I do not think that I am different, though my appearance has been changed, and so you may not recognize me, but I am same. So it is, Naomi came to pick me up today at the airport. So I had texted her, and she texted that I will recognize you. I said, yes, surely my appearance has not changed. I still look the same, same stupid fellow, don't worry. So it is, you will surely recognize me. So it is, the appearance changes, but that something that is not matter, that is not mind either, that is something that we call as my soul, my soul. So this is the awareness that we get on many times. I am not this matter, I am soul. So, as soul, how is then my connection with God? That it is, God is the whole, I am a part of it. God is the whole, all-pervading spirit, and a little bit of that spirit is in me. So that is how this idea that I am then part of God, it is as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Jiva Bhutane Mahabaho Yayedam Dharyate Jagat. He says that after describing the matter, this comes in 7th chapter, he describes first the matter and calls it my eightfold lower manifestation. It is my lower manifestation, all this matter which includes mind as well. thoughts, emotions, all are actually included in that matter. It is all a gross or subtle matter. This is my bhinna prakriti ashtadha. This is my eight divided into eight parts, my prakriti. But this is, he says in the next verse, that this is my lower prakriti, my lower manifestation. And what is then my higher manifestation? Apareyastu mimamanyam prakritim vidhi me param. Now let me tell you, prakritim vidhi me param. Me means my prakriti, which is my manifestation. Param means superior or supreme. The one that I told earlier was my lower one, lower manifestation. And what is my higher manifestation? Says, Jiva Bhutane Mahabaho Dharyate Jagat. It is how everything is held together as thatness of anything. Like Punita may say, some Tuesdays back I sat in the same chair. Now what is the sameness of the chair? This is that chair. Everything has some thatness. Like even each of us feels, I am so and so. So the body is changing. But yet there is something that remains stable, which gives it thatness. Now it is a very complex thing to explain. Here our logic is completely blunted. It does not have any penetration into this. Logic is not a very fine tool. It goes to a distance. But then that's it. It stops there. It cannot go any further. Like the screwdriver. I had a screwdriver and the big screw I could open. But then inside there were very tiny fine screw. I could not even see it. Now that big screwdriver won't go there. It is so you need a very small, that jewelers use, that kind of tools, small tools or those who repair watch and all that, very tiny tool. So then that would go there. Our intellect, our rational faculty is too gross, too blunt and equipment to penetrate into this. So we have to just look at our feeling that yes, I am. This is our feeling, our experience, that I am same. I catch the same train every day. What is same about that train? Sometimes it may not be the same carriage. Even in spite of the changes, sometimes the whole, it would be a different machine altogether. And yet there is the understanding, I come always by this same train. So there is something that you identify as same, although it is difficult to specify what is thatness of anything, thatness of anything, that only so much can be expressed in words, that everything as a kernel, that is unchanging, it is enmeshed in the outer changing body and mind. But that kernel, when that is called jiva, that jiva is the repository of all karma, all actions. Like when you eat, uh, you feel good or bad, happy or not happy. Now, who is there to feel it? Who gets it? It is difficult to say. You did some very good work, you sacrificed a lot to help somebody. Now, who got the merit of it? You feel that, yeah, I did a good turn to that person. Now, who accrued the merit? Somebody, say, had committed a heinous crime, say a murder. Now, who gets the punishment? It is very interesting that the body could be hung, but who actually did that murder? If that murderer is not the same person in the body, then who got the punishment and who got the this bad karma, the demerit? It is a very tricky question. It comes to the fore of discussion when there is that somnambulism, sleepwalking phenomena comes. There was a case, and this has that was a very prominent case, but ordinarily such things do happen. That there was a murder, and the person was kind of caught red-handed. Red-handed means he was just sitting there where the murder took place. He was sitting there and he showed them the murder and all that. And who committed? He said, I don't know. But all the evidence pointed out that he did it. And he didn't remember anything about it. It was seen that from his home he drove in the car right there. It is an interesting case. He drove right there. He murdered that fellow, and then just as it were forgot all about it, as if I did not do it at all. And now all the evidence, physical evidence, irrefutably showed that, well, this is the culprit. And then naturally the judges had no way to say that, well, you didn't do it, you did it, that's it. And so he was sentenced to some kind of, say, life imprisonment, or but then the lawyers went into appeal, and there they again brought out this evidence. His psychiatrist was called in to give witness that this man was suffering from this somnambulism, sleepwalking phenomena. Sleepwalking phenomena that now, so he had no control over the faculties. Somebody else used his body and did it, like somebody used the car. This is what the criminals do many times, that to put the blame on somebody, at least to put the police on wrong track. First they would steal a car and then take the car to do some big crime, and then put the car, showing that that car was the one that was used for the crime, and then vanish. in some other vehicle. The first clue that the police has is, hey, this car, the owner of this car must have done it. So, that is how this body is like a car. It is scary idea. It is very scary idea that it gets stolen. It gets used by somebody. I had given a lecture on this earlier. I don't want to elaborate, but this is an important point to remember, that somebody who is not this body, not this mind either, but some conscious entity. Uh, Actually, in that particular case that I was referring to, it was that man was let off. That yes, he certainly, as an individual, as the soul, he didn't commit that crime because there was no motive. There was absolutely no motive. So, it is unlikely that a person will go and kill somebody for no reason at all. There was no reason. There was no motive, not that he was going to get something out of it. Yes, he knew that person, that is true, but he didn't have any contact as such, any motive that he would get money, or he had anything that to take revenge on him, nothing. So, therefore, he was let off. So, this is that jiva takes for loan a body, a mind, uses it. That it is just like you loan a car, so it loans the body. So, it is the body is in one place, you are not in that place. It is some years back, it was that I told somebody, no, that Joan is not here, I don't see her car. But somebody else had taken her car. Joan was very much here. So, it is like that, that it is a very intriguing phenomena worth meditating upon, and that to learn to feel separately that I, and getting identified with body and mind, that is called jiva. Jiva bhutani mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. This universe is sustained, its variety is sustained by this thing called jiva, the conscious entity. I am, or that is. That is. How it is that? Where is that? It is not for our instruments cannot catch it, because all our so called scientific instruments, howsoever fine they may be, like an electron microscope, may be able to see an electron. Can it see the soul? No, it cannot. It is a different dimension altogether, and therefore even an electron microscope cannot catch it. So, this is that jiva. It is neither big nor small. It is, you cannot fix a measurement to it. Our measuring tools are not, have no access to it at all. So, you cannot call it big, you cannot call it small, it is deep within, it is very subtle, and so you cannot really catch it. How big is the spirit in us? You cannot measure and say 7 feet tall, no. It is, the spirit cannot be measured like that. So that is called jiva. And with that jiva, you see that it is a part of the whole consciousness. There you feel, I am part of God. So Hanuman says to Rama, when I think of myself as the consciousness, this spirit, then I am part, you are the whole. And then when I feel this self, there is no connection with body at all, uh, no connection with mind at all the attributes are gone. Then there is no identification, there is no I or you. So there is no separation, I am your part either. So I am same as you, Atma Buddhya Tvamevaham. By when I think of myself as the self, then I and you are not different at all. Iti me nishchita matihi. This is my firm conviction. So, this is how Sri Ramakrishna would explain these three different states. So, Sri Ramakrishna had the experience of all these, and therefore, when he would think of one's himself as body, then he had a dualistic relationship with the Supreme, that I am, well, so and so, this is my height, these are my parents, this is my age, this is the place that I live in. All this is there. So, the attitude is of dualism, that and that is the God, that is the Divine Mother that I worship. So, when Totapuri had told him that, come on, you can perform, I will teach you the discipline of Vedanta, non-dual Vedanta, would you like to practice? And Sri Ramakrishna, with total absence of ego, that Totapuri could not fathom that he is talking to such a person. So Sri Ramakrishna said, I don't know what I will do and what I will not do. My mother knows, and I will ask my mother. And Totapuri says, he says, okay, go and ask your mother, and thought that his mother is staying somewhere here, will go. And he saw Sri Ramakrishna entering this shrine of Divine Mother. The shrine of Divine Mother, right there. So, Kali Mandir. So, he goes, and Totapuri says, what is this? And thought that these are these old ignorant impressions, we will fix them later. So, it is, but for Sri Ramakrishna, when there is this idea of I am this particular body, then there is the Divine Mother. There is the Divine Mother who controls everything. That is why the common idea that everybody has about God is the governor, the lordship. Ishvara means the governor. Ishvara, this Sanskrit word, is same as Lord, the one who governs, has the lordship, has the authority. So, the authority that is controlling the universe. Like we have the governor of our little state, that somebody who governs the state. Now this whole universe also has to have a governor, otherwise how the things would go in a regular disciplined manner. There has to be some law and some authority to enforce the law. There has to be a law making authority and a law enforcing authority, and there has to be that a judgment authority, that judge to those who do not follow the authority, they would be booked and brought to punishment. These are the three systems in any governors, any governing body. In democracy it is done in a different way, in autocracy it is done differently, but these are the three major functions. That when I just was reading some books long ago on political science, then I saw how these three functions, that to make the laws, you have to make the law, that this is the rule, this is the law, this is how it should go, this is the law. So you have to go by that law, things will go by that law. Whether you know the law or you do not, the things will go by that. And that is why there is one law that is put there. Ignorance of law is not an escape from law. You cannot cite that, well, I didn't know. Well, you have to know it. It was your duty to know it. The ignorance of law is no excuse. So, it is law, how the things will be governed. Then, implementation of the law, there is all the machinery that is put into place to implement the law. So, there are inspectors, like here we have the law, that the elevator should work like this, and then the laws, whether we follow the laws or not, that implementing authority is there, that the State Department sends the notices that yes, there will be an inspection, there will be a check, and so forth. So, there is the implementing authority, the law, the implementation of the law, and then enforcement or the justice. If you don't do, then the quantum of punishment, that also is decided. You didn't inspect the elevator, does not entail a capital punishment, you see. Well, you have to pay some fine. So, there is there is all the machinery, all the rules and all, they are there. So, these three are the functions of a government. So, God as the governor, when we think of ourselves as a body and mind, then the God, they rules over us, and so the God is called Lord, Ishvara. So, this Ishvara governs everything, and that governance is impossible to override, because it governs right from inside. Inside, Ishvaras sarva bhutanam riddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. That it is, that Lord is in the heart, in the awareness, in the intellect, whatever you may think of, is gone right inside and governs by that. Doesn't need the external observers and enforcers, that God governs from within. Therefore, that governance of God can never be overruled by anything. So, that is the governance of God. So, that aspect is there, laws are there. Therefore, those laws again, who made those laws? The law of karma, for example, that who made it? That this work will have this consequence, this result. That is, God has made it. These are all we know that if you do something bad turn to somebody, you will be getting the bad karma, they demerited. And then if you do good turn to somebody, you will get merit for it. So, how this law is there and how it functions, somehow we have that intrinsic faith in that, that who decides that this seed will have this particular fruit. Somehow it has been decided, and we intrinsically, spontaneously accept it. So, we take a seed from orange, and then we know if we properly plant it, nurture it, as the tree grows, what will you expect, Punita, to get the fruits? Grapes? Oranges, right? Yeah. Why not grapes? It will, the question also will not come to us, because there is an intrinsic connection that we automatically believe that this is how it is going to happen. So, that is the laws are there, and the enforcement of that law, all that is there, that is the function of God. So, I and God are separate like that. God is the ruler, I am being ruled. But then, when that connection is felt more intimately, that, well, all that, God is the whole. We all have that reflection of God in it. So, in that sense, we are God. We are connected to God. It is, that is how I and God have this identity, that God is whole, I am part of it. Like we have here the Ganges water from the holy Ganges. Now, it is part of the Ganges that flows. It is not the whole of Ganges, but a part of it. So, it is, we call it, this is Ganges, but it is not the whole, but a part. So, each of us feel that I am part of it. That is called the qualified non-dualism. And when that distinction, when the attributes are removed completely, then there is no counting, no separation at all, and thus I and divine one. Sri Ramakrishna used to express that it is nobody, when at a relative plane, nobody is non-dualist, because it cannot be spoken of. We shall discuss that next Tuesday. Today's time is finished. So, we will meditate for 30 seconds or so, and in case if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Yes, please. So, since there are no questions, we shall conclude with the closing prayers. You are aware that this coming Sunday we have a special lecture by Swami Ishatmananda, the head of the Vivekananda Vedanta Society, Chicago. And after his lecture, there is a concert also of the devotional songs. That is, that day, 14th, is the birthday of Rama, Rama Navami, and ninth day after that new moon day. So there will be this music concert by Dattatreya Velankar, a very well-known singer. So please make it a point that you attend these programs, and please let your friends also know that they should come for this. The closing prayers. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto